Discussion, Facts, Storytelling and Understanding by Nishia Ito. Made with Notebook LM. This video explores supernatural concepts such as curses, spirits, and belief systems from a speculative and philosophical perspective. The content is intended for thought-provoking discussion only. It does not promote or validate any specific spiritual or paranormal beliefs.
All right, let's talk about curses. You know, those ancient tales of dark magic and spooky hexes. But what if I told you the way they actually work is, well, way simpler and a lot closer to home than you might think? Today, we are diving into a really cool theory that completely flips the script on what a curse is.
So, let's just get right to the heart of it with this one big question. What if all that incredible power we give to a curse doesn't come from some ancient wizard or a haunted amulet, but from the combined power of our own minds?
Okay, so to really get this, we first have to break down what we think a curse is, the Hollywood version, versus what this theory suggests is actually going on.
And you can see the difference right away, right? On one side, we have what we imagine, these super complex spells, ancient objects, powerful wizards, the whole shebang. But on the other side, the source material's idea is way simpler. It's just a negative force, and its power comes from something we see every day, rumors and our own belief.
I mean, think about how a nasty rumor works. It starts small, right? But the more people hear it and the more they believe it, the more real and powerful it becomes. This theory says a curse works the exact same way. It's this negative energy that literally feeds on our attention and belief to get stronger and stronger. To really make this idea click, the source material uses this brilliant analogy. It's basically a simple ghost story, but it perfectly illustrates how our belief can give real power to something that isn't even really there.
Okay, so the story goes like this. A guy goes into an abandoned house at night, looking for a thrill. He sees something, just a formless, unholy spirit. But in that moment of fear, his mind projects a really creepy face onto it. Now, it was just a hallucination, but what does he do? He runs out and tells everyone in town about the ghost with this specific, terrifying face. The rumor just explodes, and pretty soon, anyone who dares go into that house sees the exact same face.
And this is the absolute core of the idea. The source calls this a quantum signal of beliefs. It's a fancy way of saying that once enough people focus their belief on one single idea, that collective energy can actually give a formless thing a physical shape. Their belief literally made the ghost's face real for everyone.
But here's the most important part of the whole story. If people stop talking about it, if the rumors die down, and that collective belief starts to fade, the form of the spirit gets weaker. Without all that fuel from the rumor mill, that face it borrowed from everyone's minds just starts to disappear.
So, what on earth does a spooky ghost story have to do with curses? Well, as it turns out, everything. That story is basically a perfect blueprint for understanding exactly how a curse gets its power.
So, according to this theory, this is what a curse is. It's not a spirit or a being, but a non-spiritual force. And just like that ghost's face, its power to affect the world can grow or shrink depending entirely on how much belief we feed it.
And when you lay it all out side by side like this, the connection is just undeniable. For the ghost, the entity was a spirit. For a curse, it's a negative force. The ghost trigger was a hallucination. A curse's trigger might be some bad event that people start calling cursed. And the fuel? It's identical. Rumors, fear, and belief? The result is the same too. The spirit gets a face, and the curse gets real, actual power. Okay, so this brings us to what is maybe the most important and honestly, the most empowering part of this entire idea. If a curse is built on our belief, well, that means the key to taking it apart is also inside of us.
Which, of course, leads to the million-dollar question. If our fear and our belief are the fuel that makes a curse powerful, how do you stop feeding it? How do you cut off the power supply?
Well, the source lays out this really fascinating three-step process. First, you can't just pretend it doesn't exist. You have to acknowledge that the idea of the curse is out there. But step 2 is the absolute game changer. You have to consciously and with total conviction deny its power over you. You have to truly, deeply believe this curse cannot do anything to me. And that pure, full belief is step 3. You starve it. You completely remove the negative fuel it means to survive.
So the takeaway here is pretty huge. You don't fight a curse with a bigger spell or some magic charm. You just neutralize it by changing your own mind,
By replacing all that fear and doubt with this pure, rock-solid belief in your own immunity, you leave absolutely no room for the curse to feed. You just take away its food. It's as simple as that.
And so, that leaves us with one final, pretty big thought. This whole theory is built on the idea that our collective belief can literally give shape and power to something supernatural. So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If our belief is that powerful, what else in our world is it shaping right now?